mà chất năng bằng sông cruông chiên bạch nhạc bạch nhạc Samady cùng năn nia sông cruông bom ra ca bia Campuchia mai cầm rực nia tiêm tia sập sợi dây ai kêu riêng bồn áp hiểm áp thấp bát tay mai pro xây đô đánh thay rẽ xa mình ỏi bỏ tinh chìm biến một đua ta song bạn đồn ta thâm thiên triệt Khmer rèn áp tinh rèn bom lư Campuchia Khmer ai cái thêm kia đong dài pha nhà nhớ bài sẽ đánh song cũng ăn không xa sau quạt lại ca chi việc phim rùng rương đầy dương tu dương khô khó dương Khmer trong lan song cua chiên khai ra nào ở trong đầu âm lại chun bờ chia đang bay Campuchia rung rung xem xa chơi vô con nặng phải song cua chiên mà chất năng bằng sông cruông chiên bạch nhạc mây miên Samady cùng năn nia sông cruông bom ra ca bia Campuchia mai cầm rực nia tiêm tia sập sợi dây ai kêu riêng bồn áp hiểm áp thấp bát tay mai pro xây đô đánh thay rẽ xa mình ỏi bỏ tinh chìm biến một đua ta song bạn đồn ta thâm thiên triệt Khmer rèn áp tinh rèn bom lư Campuchia Khmer ai cái thêm kia đong dài pha nhà nhiều bài sẽ đánh song cũng ăn không xa sau quạt lại ca chi việc phim rùng rương đầy dương tu dương khô khó dương Khmer trong lan song cruông chiên khai ra bó ngọt ở trong đầu âm lại chun bờ chia đang bay Campuchia rung rung xem san
and good evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining our show. This is Khmer Youth Voices for Justice. This is part of the CNRP-America live show. Again, thank you. Today is Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. Again, my name is Linda Wu. I am broadcasting live from Los Angeles, California. So I would like to wish everybody a happy new year. My new year is coming up. So happy new year if you have not joined our show for a while, but this is April, it's new year time. So may you be blessed with good health. So, and I would like, normally I do ending impunity for justice in Cambodia, but I would like you, our audience, to support a brand new, a brand new, I mean, it's not brand new, it's came out since last year. It's by a commission of inquiry of Cambodia. I will share a little bit a video of that, but it's in an hour long. And it's on YouTube, and also it's it has its own website. It's called Cambodia Commission of Inquiry.org. Basically, the purpose of the video is to gather evidence of the government, basically of the Hun Sen regime, massive violations of democracy and human rights standard incorporated in the Paris Peace Accord and in numerous international treaty obligations. So the Cambodia Commissions of Inquiry is gathering all these evidence, and they will take all these evidence. Then it's presented in a convincing way to the international community and all to international community and decision makers, so that Hun Sen regime, or Hun Sen, they're not a government, so Hun Sen regime can be held accountable, so that justice and accountability, democracy and human rights can be returned to Cambodia, and meaningful and effective reform can take place. I will show a little bit of the clip. It's an hour long, so please head to YouTube. I will put on the link. Head to YouTube and share it, like it. I would like you to share, like, and comment the video, because it's a lot of evidence, a lot of time and effort to gather this information. So it's by Commission of Inquiry for Cambodia. So please pass it around. Share. Your support is very important. It's a combinations of ending impunity in Cambodia all into this video. So I will play a little bit and have you, our audience, please support and share as soon as I drop in the link.
Amnesty International uncovered a similar form of government involvement in the assassination of political commentator Ken Lay in July of 2016, where
I felt like I died. My name is Rani Nushansky. I'm Vice President of CNRP-American for Human Rights and Democracy. My question is, so far, no one, not even UN agencies or any international institutions, could help Cambodia have free and fair elections or protect Cambodians from human rights abuses. So, how would this Commission of Inquiry help? And what's different about this commission compared to other agencies?
Thank you, Rani, for your question. This commission is about empowering Khmer people to bring forward their demands for fundamental human dignity and the restoration of democratic freedoms to Cambodia. It is true that the dictatorship and the rights violations feel entrenched. It can feel hopeless. What this commission does is provide a platform for victims, for survivors, and for advocates of freedoms in Cambodia to lift up their voices, to provide a product, a set of findings that are completely independent, and that the Khmer activists can then work with commissioners and their other allies to bring forward to other actors who must take action to support the development of better standards of human rights, better respect for democratic freedoms in Cambodia. It's a journey. It is not one step. Over the course of the year, we'll be working together to provide those opportunities for Khmer activists to be part of the solution themselves.
For one thing, I think the efforts of the Commission are intended to support all of those efforts and to bring them forward. One of the differences in this particular process is that it has been created by the community itself. And I think that mobilizing the community is an essential first step towards having more effective action in all of the different forums in which action can be taken. So there's no guarantee, but this, we hope, will reinvigorate interest in the problems in Cambodia, raise public awareness, and be an effective supportive element to all the other efforts that are going on.
Hello, my name is Sita, President of the Cambodian League for Human and Citizen Rights, Ligue Cambodienne des droits de l'homme et du citoyen. My question is, since Hun Sen has always resisted international pressure, how do we organize and carry out advocacy efforts that will convince him to take necessary steps towards meaningful systemic changes? What additional kind of pressure can we apply now?
Well, thank you for your question, Sita. Even the most powerful and authoritarian regimes and dictators do pay attention to public pressures and the people's demands for changes in abusive policies and practices. So by mobilizing public opinion and public action and shining a light again on the worst forms of atrocities that take place behind closed doors, this is a foundation for ending abuses. So building momentum for change, reactivating the commitments of other governments, the commitments of actors inside Cambodia, and bringing them together based on facts and based on identification of the points of leverage. That is how governments, abuse, and power holders will recognize that their actions are no longer going to be tolerated. But there is no magic bullet. There is no one simple and easy solution to these intractable problems. So it's important to make use of all available forums and find additional points of leverage. These things require a series of strong and consistent attention and a series of strong and consistent intention and a wide range of advocacy efforts. So the convening of this commission is intended to be an important and effective next step in creating the foundation for those renewed actions. Shining a light on the abuses, mobilizing the public pressure, and ensuring that the government and the power holders in Cambodia know that the status quo is not acceptable and that the Khmer people and their international supporters will not give up.
Dictators always say that they're impervious to public opinion and international opinion. I don't think that those words should be taken at face value. The Cambodian government needs the international community in a variety of ways, and the international community has a variety of techniques and tools to put pressure on the Cambodian government to live up to its human rights responsibilities. So I don't think anyone should pay attention to those kinds of denials. We believe that he will be impacted by the work of the commission and all those that are taking similar actions to put pressure on the government.
My name is Kiet Pen. I am the wife.
Thank you, and I need your support. I just dropped a link onto the chat. Please support the video, like, share, and comment at youtube.com. So this is, and you can search for Commission of Inquiry for Cambodia, or you can head to Cambodia Commissions of Inquiry.org. That's their website. And again, Missions of Inquiry for Cambodia is to gather evidence of the government of Hun Sen's massive violations of democracy and human rights standards incorporated in the Paris Peace Accord and in numerous international treaty obligations. It will gather all the evidence and present it in a way to the international community. This is so that way Hun Sen can be held accountable, so that justice and accountability, democracy and human rights can be returned to Cambodia. So in short, this Commissions of Inquiry for Cambodia is tied to our Ending Impunity for Justice campaign. So please head to the link that we just dropped, youtube.com, and search Commissions of Inquiry for Cambodia, and also go to Cambodia Commissions of Inquiry.org to support, share, and like Ending Impunity for Justice for Cambodia. We would like, it's nothing you have to sign, but please watch, share, and comment on video and subscribe. the more you watch, the more people subscribe, the more people pay attention to the cause. It will bring the evidence. If they will work on gathering the evidence that we have for ending impunity, the evidence that the audience have signed over 112,000 signatures already at ending impunity for justice. So those signatures are very powerful because we want to end impunity in Cambodia. And the Commission of Inquiry of Cambodia will work with your signature and also will bring evidence so that way to present it to the community, international community. So please head to youtube.com, search for Commissions of Inquiry for Cambodia, or click on the link that I just dropped, or also go to their website, Commissions of Inquiry, Cambodia Commissions of Inquiry.org. Thank you so much. And like I said, our campaign Ending Impunity for Justice in Cambodia have gathered more than 112,000 signatures. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for signing the petition, share the petition, and also help people to learn what the petition's about. Now we're going to the next step. So please support Commissions of Inquiry of Cambodia. Share it, like it, subscribe to it, so that way that's your support, that's your chance to support the cause. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support, and also please continue to advocate for ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. It's a campaign together that we hold Hun Sen responsible for continue to commit and kill Cambodian. And everything that happened in Cambodia is what we call it's by the state, meaning that the regime can never find the true perpetrator because it's killed by the state. It's state-backed killing in Cambodia. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining our show. Again, this is Khmer Youth Voices for Justice. I have two wonderful guests. Before I introduce them, I would like to say the topic for our show today is civil liberties in a democratic society. The reason for the topic, because of the protest that I see. So I want our audience, which is two of my audience, to share what do we do in a country with the democratic society. What do we do with that, and what happened in Cambodia? So we will describe, and we also talk a little bit of what that are those five freedom of expressions, freedom of assembly, freedom of religion, freedom of the press. So I forgot one more, but I will look it up and I will look at my note. But we will hit on those five items, that the freedom that we live in America or in the free world never thought that we're going to talk about, but in Cambodia it's something that very tight and very strict on. So nevertheless, let me introduce my guest. One of my guests, her name is Sita Arunson. She is a CNRP-A supporter. She is in Fresno, California. Let me welcome her. ជំរាបសួរបង
ជំរាបសួរ Linda.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. How's Fresno?
Nice and warm today.
Yes, I believe my other guest is also from California, so we all in California. The weather is hot and hotter this whole week. So I'm sorry if I'm bragging to the East Coast, but the weather is today is pretty warm, so it's like beach weather this whole week, so it's very warm. So how you been, Bong? First of all, thank you for being at the Bon Pka in Long Beach this past weekend. I appreciate you and your husband, and also the Fresno community that drove up and meet us in Long Beach for the Bon Pka this past Saturday.
Yeah, it's part of our duties. We all need to pitch in and help whatever we can. So.
Thank you, Bong. And yes, she pitched in a lot. She did a lot. So how long from Fresno to LA, Bong? Long Beach?
3.5 Without stuck in traffic, about 3.5, 4 hour ish.
So Bong Sita and her Fresno community or her Fresno chapter will drive up here for any event that we have in either Long Beach or LA. And like she said, it's 3.5 hours. So that is a very dedicated. And Bong Sita is always here in Long Beach. So thank you so much, Bong, for being here, for supporting us.
Glad to have done that. Yes, we'll continue to do that.
Thank you, Bong. Thank you. My second guest, he's real youth, not just youthful like Bong Sita and I. His name is Samady. He is the youth president in CNRP-A Los Angeles. Let me welcome him.
ជំរាបសួរបង
ជំរាបសួរបង Samady.
បាទជំរាបសួរបងជំរាបសួរមី How are you today?
I'm good. How you been?
Good. It's very hot in LA.
So yeah, we are not bragging. It is hot and it's gonna get hotter this week. And also thank you, Samady, for being at the Wonpka at Long Beach this past Saturday. Thank you for LA chapter that came in and support us as well.
No problem, Bob.
So how school, how Samady's doing for the last, I guess, 2 days, and we saw you 3 days.
I'm just trying to get by, to be honest. Like now is April, so March, about a month left, and then I'm set. So yeah, final push.
Thank you, Samady. One of our audience asked if we went to the Khmer parade a couple of days ago in Long Beach. I honestly did not go because we actually was in Long Beach on Saturday, and the Wonpka is draining our energy, so we didn't get to go to the parade. But I seen on Facebook that they went to the parade. So thank you, Jisam, for asking that question. Did you go to the parade, Samady?
I think it is 8 a.m. right? 8 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, so if I were to go to LA, it's probably like stuck with traffic and everything from where I live. Probably gonna take like an hour to get to Long Beach.
Did you stay on Saturday or over on Sunday, Bong Sita, or you drove back home 3.5 hours back to Fresno?
We drove back home on Saturday evening. Yeah, we didn't get to stay because we have work the next day, which is Monday. So if we stay another day, it was gonna be very tiring. Yeah.
Yes, and before I forget, thank you to CNRP-A chapters all over America and Canada that contribute to Wonpka. I appreciate it. We, Bong Sita and I and Samady, even though it's a long distance from the East Coast, we in the West Coast, so we appreciate the donations, and thank you so much for by contribution. Thank you so much for Santa Ana, that also chapter that put in the setting up the tent at the temple, and also Long Beach chapter and all the chapter surrounding Southern California that came together and pulled through the Wonpka on this Saturday. So
yeah. Oh, one thing I just want to chime in too. Want to thank you. We didn't get a chance to thank you, the Santa Ana chapter that make the food for the event. Yeah. Thanks to them. Without that, we would be not a happy camper. Yeah.
It was yummy.
Yeah,
yummy.
It was yummy
Very
and
yummy.
plenty of food. Thank you
Yes.
for everyone who participate and help.
Yeah, the food ran out really quick. That's how Santa Ana got good food.
Yeah, but it was enough. Not ran out like shortage. It was ran out fast, but everybody had enough. I've seen everybody had. Nobody went home hungry. I don't think that happened.
Thank you, Bong, and thank you, Samady. Our topic today is civil liberties in a democratic society. What I have earlier, the reason brought my attention was the protest. In February, CNRP-A has a workshop in Florida, and also it's remind me that they have a protest. The CPP also have a protest against our acting president Sam Rainsy present in Florida at the same time. So I was thought about that, and I brought it up and said, why let brought it up because people in America has the liberty of going to protest, having the and nobody dragged them and nobody pushed them into a bus. But people in Cambodia, unfortunately, is not able to go and protest. And so that is our topic. And since we live in a democratic society, I will start with Bong Sita. What is the freedom that we, or the civil liberties that we enjoy as as people living in America, in a free country, the democratic country?
Well, in America, we have the First Amendment that is protected. We are protected by the First Amendment in the United States. That includes freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, the right to assemble, and the right to petition the government. So those are all protected under the First Amendment. And in Cambodia, we have similar, actually kind of the same to the First Amendment, which is Article 41, but we'll go into that later. But we do have those two, but just that the government's not using it properly. But over here, we have we have that freedom protected under the First Amendment. The government respect and honor those, those amendments, those laws. So that's the difference. We both have the Constitution, but once we rule under the dictatorship under Hun Sen regime, they not following the rule. They have their own rule. And in the United States, we follow the rule, and the government follow those rules as well, and protect the people from getting abused by the law enforcement. So we are protected under the Constitution, the First Amendment, for that particular freedom.
Let me share a video. What you said is, like, in America, we are protected by the civil liberties. In a democratic society is we have the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to assemble, and freedom to gather, and freedom to protest, and also freedom of the press, meaning like the media, basically. And that's protected by our First Amendment. You want anything to add regarding democratic society, Samady?
You and Ming's already explained everything regarding freedom, like you said, the 4 or 5 points that you just stated. We can probably say something after watching the video. Is there any sound?
Oh, there's a sound. I just want you to talk.
Oh, okay. So, when we talk about freedom in the U.S., we had to talk about the freedom from Europe when the United States become the United States. We want to become an independent country, and then there's come slavery. People want the freedom of the right to speak, like African American, the freedom from Jim Crow law. That subjected African American to second-class citizen. And nowadays, when we're talking about freedom, we're talking about in the U.S., we're talking about the police against a certain group of people. They want the same right as being treated by the government and the police. And as you can see in Cambodia, wherever you go, the government keep reminding people that thank you, peace, when older generation think of the word thank you peace, they think of Pol Pot. So Cambodia is still stuck with the freedom from war, not the freedom of speech or freedom of expression or freedoms of peaceful protest. In this case, they still stuck with whoever stand up against the government. The government think, especially the Hun Sen regime, think that those people want to rebel against them. Just like during the Pol Pot era, if you rebel against Pol Pot, you will be thrown in jail and taken into the field, and they will you will not come back to your family. This is in a very similar case, as you can see. So I think under the Hun Sen regime, the freedom of speech is still not exist. They still stuck in the war era during the Pol Pot era, where they have to use force to put on women, innocent women who just want to have minimum wage, getting their job back at Naga, and they did not violate any rules, or they did not cause any aggression when they have protest. They are peaceful. They keep 6 feet distant apart. So, and then you're seeing the police just come in and drag them and throw them into the bus like have you seen like in Cambodia they throw pig into the back of the container? This is similar to that. So it's just unfortunate that Cambodia is still stuck into the era of Pol Pot, and the regime still practice those type of same method.
I want to describe a little bit the image that our audience seen, that just saw that I just play. That was the Naga workers and union member attempt to gather in front of the Naga building to resume their peaceful strike. As it's been going on many days, and also from the images, they were blocked by security forces that deployed by the regime, by the city, by the province. The barricade were also placed around the site to prevent the striker from approaching the casino building. So what happened was they on strike. They want to reinstate. Due to COVID, casino Naga will have laid off 365 people or more, and then they want the and they also want to abolish the union. So it's been going on since last year, and also I believe in December that they started to go on strike because no resolution, and it's not just December because they couldn't get it agree with the Naga world that it is it's been negotiating since last year, so it's been dragging. So finally they on strike. So when they on strike, the union worker are not allowed to be strike in front of the casino. There are two sides. We have two casino right now in Phnom Penh, and the third one is currently building. So because of profit, the casino said they have to lay off due to COVID and due to profit. But at the same time, they are building the third casino in Cambodia. So the image you see was the police the authority pushed the striker into awaiting buses and took them away. So the striker wasn't told where they were going or where they were taking to. So as also the human rights observer also were being chased away at the gathering site, and also the security ordered them the distance from the site. And also I was reading from VOD that the authority also mentioned that the image that we seen, the image of the pushing, it's not true. It's fake news. So since December, we have been seeing fake news of the casino, the Naga World Casino on strike, and all the image that we're seeing on Facebook on live Facebook Live that we're seeing of the authority pushing and shoving and dragging them. And before that, they were on COVID. They were on COVID quarantine because they were so afraid that those people are spreading COVID to the society, to the community. So they were on quarantine. After the quarantine, now the country opened up. Country opened up the stadium to soccer fan. Now in less than 10 days, we're going to have Khmer New Year's, and we are welcoming Khmer New Year's, and the country is open up. Country is no longer doing COVID testing at the airport. So, and now at the airport, they are redoing the visa. So it's back to normal, not requiring COVID testing upon entry. But at the same time, the NAGA worker and union workers, they are push, and prevent from being strike because of COVID. So that is just an unfortunate, and also that is it's going to what we're talking about, the freedom to assemble, freedom to protest, which is not allowed based on the law. And also since COVID-19, the regime have created so many laws that affected COVID, that anything that relate to COVID, anything that and you cannot assume, you cannot be together, you cannot protesting, because those are encouraging the spread of COVID to the community, to themselves. So they are looking out for you, looking out for the protester. And also it's like the law that just created. And when I search what is the top issue in Cambodia, new law, crazy new laws, attacks on human rights defender, arrest and harassment of opposition member and supporter, freedom of media, and also the lack of adequate standard of living. Bong Sita, you have anything to add regarding to the freedom of the press, the freedom of the protest and assemble?
Yeah, according to an article that you mentioned earlier, freedomhouse.org. I did look it up too. It says Cambodia is rated not free in the freedom in the world. So that's for the freedom part. And then the freedom of the net, which is the internet, partly free in the freedom world of the net. That means they still allow a little bit of, Facebooks and things like that, but they are restricting it in so many other ways that people are afraid of putting their ideas and their opinions on the Facebook, because they are afraid of the persecution, and because it has been people who express that idea in the past, and then they put them in jail. So it's not free. So the world know about all these all these hardships in Cambodia, but the government just denying it and say that everything that that is on the internet or is fake news. The only news that they are broadcasting are the news from government-owned news. So the world, the media, the independent media are all being kicked out, and they are limited. Those who are very few that are left, but they limited them and threat them, putting them in jail and stuff like that. So they are afraid of not showing everything that they're supposed to show. So there's no freedom. There's no freedom of the press. There's no freedom of the speech. There's no freedom of assembly, and none of that. It's being reported by the world, not just us talking about it. Yeah.
Thank you, Bong. Yes, this is the website, called freedomhouse.org. it rated different countries. So according to what you can see, Cambodia ranked 24 scored 24 out of 100. So, and it's classified as not free. So political rights 5 of 40, civil liberties 19 out of 40. So they are classified, and that is in 2022. The score doesn't change from 2021. It's 2021 still score 24 out of 100. And how did they categorize why is Cambodia is not free? According to the website, citing the need to respond to COVID-19 pandemic, the regime enacted legislations that gave Hun Sen the power to declare a state of emergency that would grant him a virtually unchecked power. So he never invoked the COVID-19 pandemic law, but he at the same time restrict media, assembly, travel, and business activity. So according to the Freedom House, COVID-19 for the last 2 years, and the COVID-19 pandemic, the government is using it to control the freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, just to contain the virus itself. So and that is still going on today, and is still going on, as you see from the Naga world. The authority is pushing and shoving, and you see all those Naga world worker and striker, peaceful striker. They are women, and they do not care if there's women or men. That you don't see men, because many of those workers are women, and they got pushed and shoved. And it's very unfortunate that a country that call themselves democracy, has democracy, respect human right, and have democracy, is doing that to its own people. Sam, do you have anything to add?
Regarding the freedom of
Expression, the Freedom House, are they correct that Cambodia is not free?
Cambodia is not free. They scored 24 out of 100, and I hope we don't get that confused, that we are ranked 24 out of 100. No, it's 24 divided by 100. If we're talking about grade, that is a failure. That's worse than an F. Regarding F minus probably. And regarding the freedom of assemble and peaceful protest, we have two scenarios. Let's say if, like, for example, like in the United States during the police brutality to George Floyd, as a result, they choke him to death by putting the knee on his neck. And people come out to protest. We see two sides. One side is that people like breaking the property, the government property. They break into Mercedes-Benz store, burning all the vehicle, just randomly broke into luxury store and steal all the stuff, all the expensive wallet, purse, and so on, just destroying property in general, just looting. Those people should be punished when they illegally assemble a group and disrupted the right of free movement by unlawfully breaking into private property, or even government too. And we see the other side, who has peaceful protests for George Floyd, who truly want to fight for the cause. They are peaceful. They just want to express their freedom of speech and what they believe in. Those people should not be thrown in jail or be receiving punishment from the government or the police. In this case, we see that the Naga World Women, Friday Women, and so on, they just go there, peaceful protest, did not block any traffic. They do it on the side of the road, just yelling that they want their freedom of speech, following the COVID guideline. They just, I don't think they even yell at for the Naga World women. They're just holding signs, standing still and just holding sign without saying anything. To me, that is peaceful. So in this case, if we take a close look at it, I don't think that considered as unlawfully blocking the traffics or causing harm to the public property. That is known as freedom of speech, and they just want to express their opinion regarding the unjust of firing them from the workplace and not giving a fair wage for the Nagavel women. And the same thing to Friday women. They wrongfully arrested their husband. They just want their husband to be free and coming back home. As you can see, I just compare between the two countries, and it should be evidently supported why Cambodia ranked 24 out of 100. Thank you.
Thank you, Samady. For our audience that's not very familiar with Friday Women, Friday Women's wife, sister, daughter of political prisoner or prisoner that unfairly in prison. They are out there every Friday to protest their release. I have a short clip I'm going to share, and I'm going to have a sound on it. What they do every single Friday, and just to give you a little.
About a dozen relatives of jailed activists from the banned opposition Cambodia National Rescue Party marched toward the Royal Palace. The protesters were hoping to petition the king for the release of their imprisoned family members. The palace refused to accept the petition, and security officers forced the protesters to leave. Earlier, the protesters prayed for the release of their relatives. They also called down curses on the government officials who arrested their family members. 17 CNRP activists are currently in prison in Cambodia. In recent years, the government of Prime Minister Hun Sen has stepped up harassment of activists, journalists, and opposition politicians. Western governments and human rights groups have called on Cambodia to end the crackdown on dissenting voices.
That's a little short clips of what Friday Women, they do it every single Friday. So this is the latest one. So they go to each embassy and put on petitions asking for the release of their husband, their father, their brother, and also at the same time, if there's a court case that's going on, that's going to be hearing, the judge going to hear that the court case, they will be in front of the court asking for the release of their husband. And this is going on every single Friday. So they are very they are every single Friday. So they very brave. One of the few women that's there. So when we're talking about freedom of assembly, freedom to protest, freedom to gather, it's not easy. It's not easy in Cambodia at all. Let us try to compare what happened in America. Samady, you were in Florida, and you will also notice that there's video showing up regarding the people that protest against CNRP acting president, Mr. Sam Rainsy. And at the same time, they are enjoying this freedom of assembly, freedom to protest in America. But at the same time, their political party in Cambodia is controlling and holding people not allowed to protest. And if they are protest, they are got beat up. So how is that even they enjoying what the American have to offer to them, but they wouldn't enjoy, but they wouldn't offer the same rights and the same freedom to their own citizen in Cambodia?
I think the reason they holding protests at Florida is because honestly, I could not think of any reason that benefit them, except probably getting recognition from CPP or in this case, she got cut out me.
I don't know. Continue to talk. It's still on though.
Well, anyway, so I lost my train of thought.
I'm still here. Okay.
Oh, okay.
No, is it fair that people in America and their own party, CPP in America, enjoy the freedom of expressions, enjoy the freedom of going to protest anywhere in America without being pushed, being shoved, and at the same time, if the same people that doing it in Cambodia, their own same blood doing in Cambodia, the regime push and shove and saying, color revolutions, they're inciting the incitement against the regime. How is that even? How do you equate to that? They not even let people in Cambodia enjoy the same democratic society, that how the civil liberty, which is the enjoyment of, not enjoyment, the right to protest.
Well, I think I remember what I'm gonna say. So in in the US,
I'll stay so you can say.
they probably enjoy their freedom so much in the US because if you look at the news or study the history of the US, maybe during the oppression era where African American did not have equal right to vote, that's when you call political prisoner like Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and so on. That's when the U.S. actually have a political prisoner during that time, and now they're not going to throw the government not going to throw you in jail because just you having a protest, peaceful protest, especially like the people on the CPP supporter at Florida did. So maybe they just enjoying those right that the U.S. Does not arrest you for walking around the city peacefully and protesting. While in Cambodia, those people did not enjoy the same right. So I think they just have nothing to do. They just want to spend their spare time walking around and enjoy those privileges when Mr. Samady came and visit Florida.
Thank you, Samady. How about Bong Sita? Any input regarding the, they we know they enjoy the freedom of assembly and freedom of protest in America. Why wouldn't they offer the same freedom under the "Thank You Peace" slogan?
The most recent one is the event that we had in Long Beach this past weekend. We
Just
had
one person.
there was one person screaming his lung out outside the temple, outside the premises, about to protest against the event that what we were doing. So he's expressing his freedom of speech there. So why are they not allowing that in Cambodia? Because they want to keep everybody under the control of the government. I want to bring up earlier I mentioned that America First Amendment protect us under that freedom of speech and all the freedom that we mentioned protect under the First Amendment. And in Cambodia, we also have Constitution, and we should be protected under the Constitution, Cambodian Constitution as well. And under Article 41, I'm reading here, it's constitutionproject.org. Say Khmer citizen shall have freedom of expression of their ideas, freedom of information, freedom of publication, and freedom of assembly. No one shall exercise these rights to infringe upon the honor of the other, and custom to society, public order, and national security. And these freedom, and Article 42, it says the right to establish association and political party. So, all that, we have it under the Constitution, but the government's not doing their due diligence and abusing those constitutions. Unlike in the United States, the government honor those laws and constitution and protect the people according to the law. But in Cambodia, they abuse the law and they not following those. They make up their own law, just like you mentioned earlier. They make up all kind of law during the COVID, just pop up like popcorns, and they enforce those whatever way to benefit their region, because they don't want any things against their idea. And another thing I want to mention is that under those guarantees for the Cambodian citizens' rights, the king is the guarantor of the national independence. He's the one who supposedly the protector or the guarantor of those constitution. He's the one who's supposed to come when somebody break those law. He's the one who's supposed to come out and then say, hey, look at the constitution, you're doing what you're doing is not right, and things like that. But have we seen him come out and protect any of those? Nope. No. Let the government run his show, let Hun Sen's regime run his shows so freely, and people get hurt. There's no care in the world for the king or for the Hun Sen regime to care about the people or about the constitution or any of those. They just run their own laws. That's the difference between the United States and the Cambodian government.
Thank you, Bong. I'm just showing some picture. I wish I can tell you who is the authority and who is the plain civilian, because it looked like the person is wearing the blue outfit who's probably should be a doctor or should be in the medical field, having boot, having glove on, hat on. It's also helping in pushing and shoving people into the bus. So I have, and I don't know how many color uniforms there. You can see the dark color, the green color.
If you put back the blue uniform, the blue PPE uniform right there, you see the black uniform under that, the boots. They are law enforcement people. They just put those on to disguise that they are the healthcare worker, but no, you can see the uniform under that.
Yeah, and
use it as an excuse, to shove people in the bus.
And talking about freely, authorities in Cambodia are openly hostile to free assembly, meaning gathered by the bandit opposition leader CNRP are now prohibited. So the authorities repeatedly broke up protests, often it's like using violence, and you can see through that Naga World Authority, like Bong's Sita said, they are afraid of COVID, so they have their scrub on, the hat on, except their boot. I guess that's the COVID's not going to get through the boot. So activists and social and civil society group dedicated, justice and human rights in Cambodia. Anything if we go out and protest, if the citizen go out and protest, it will face harassment, and also not just now the heated protester are the peaceful protests of Naga, where women just being pushed and shoved. And another chronic illness in Cambodia is the land grab, land dispute. So those are very heated issue that does not die down. And at the same time, like I said, the Naga World protest, peaceful protest, happens in December on. I believe, I don't know exactly, but I know in December they already protest. But according to that, they they've been at negotiation table without any resolution. So now we're talking December to April. Now it's been 4 to 5 months now that the ladies of Naga Corp out there and peaceful protests being shoved every single day, being pushed. The Naga Corp, not the CEO of the Naga Corp, have not come out and negotiate with the worker yet. So and at the same time, the regime is deploying authority, employing police. I think that's what they call police in Cambodia, to make sure that the protester cannot reach the casino itself. Like I said many times, in Cambodia, they are not allowed to go to those two Naga World Casino to protest. And the city, the commune, the authority from the city and commune help them help push those peaceful strikers. It's very unfortunate that in a country that consider themselves democratic and consider themselves respect for human rights, it just backward. It just walk backward each day. And now the new also came out that those image that we see is fake news.
I just want to add, I read article said that the reason the government's supposed to help mediated the Naga World protester and the company, but instead they're the one who push and pull and drag those people and put them in jail. The reason is the article went on, said that because the Hun family, some of the Hun family have share in the Naga World company. So that's why you see the conflicts of interest right there. The Hun family is the one who hold the government, and the Hun family also in the Naga World company. So of course they have interest not to help mediate the conflict between the people and the company. And instead they just want to shut the people up, and brush it under the rugs and forget about it. But I'm so proud and so admire those people who go out there and stay out there and not giving in. Yeah. And the same for the Friday woman every week. Yep.
Being pushed, being shoved, but they's out there every single Friday. We are not the Naga World union worker. They out there every single day wanting a resolution. Basically, what they're saying is, wanting a resolution, just so that way they can feed their family, they can go back to work, and that is just the freedom that is not allowed in Cambodia, because the regime is on the business, looking at it as like Bong Sita said, they're not mediating because it's costing the pocketbook.
Yeah, all they asking for is a fair wage. Yeah, fair wage, reinstatement to go back to work, and some protecting right, like for I think like labor, maternity right, and things like that. So just those basic rights. That's all they're asking for, but they're not providing any of that. They don't want to.
They don't want to negotiate. They want the union to disassemble. They don't want to have union. And we all know that unions are something that in Cambodia, it's benefit for them, because it's how somebody to look out for them. Is a something's going on. It's like a protections that you cannot, because those businesses are big businesses, and those businesses help and feed the regime. So for ordinary citizen, it's going up against the regime itself. So how they have to have a voice. They have to have a a group of protection for the union. Our topic today is civil liberty in a democratic society. Cambodia consider themselves as democratic society, but Freedom House said no. It's not free at all. And when it's talking about free, we're talking about freedom of speech. We're talking about freedom of religion. We didn't even hit on that on the religion. We just mostly we hitting on freedom to assemble and protest, and also freedom of the press. Freedom of the press. We know that many press like Radio Free Asia, the many media that being pushed, being not allowed to operate in the country, and since the dissolve of the CNRPs in 2017. So on our topic today, thank you, Sita, and thank you, Samady. Any last words, Samady? Since Sita already said enough already.
I don't have any last word, Bong. I just think that under Hun Sen regime, Cambodian just walk backward. In this case, the country will be outdated. Especially they have a lot of youth inside the country. Almost 80% in Cambodia is considered to be youth. Cambodian population is considered to be youth. So I don't know. As long as Hun Sen is in power, there's no walking forward toward democracy.
Thank you, Samady. And when you're talking,
something. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, when somebody talking about youth, it's a lot of wasted resource, wasted energy, just to invent the law, just to, like Sita said, the laws and COVID-19 in 2020 pop up like popcorn, and it's wasted energy, wasted the court energy, wasted resources. That everything people do is wrong. Everything that we have a amendment, we have a freedom of speech, we have a constitutions in Cambodia, but at the same time there's invention of law where you cannot get together because you don't want to be a spread of COVID, and that spread of COVID just if the sport fan get together, it's okay, but it's the protest, peaceful protest who sit 6 feet apart peacefully wanting to protest in front of the building, or Friday woman wanting to put a petition in at a embassy, or at or stand in front of the court. They're not allowed to do that. And also many court cases being delayed and dragged on because of COVID-19, and that is just to show when somebody said about the youth, I feel it's wasted resource, wasted education, wasted, people learn about constitution, and at the same time, the new one popping up, and everywhere they turn, left and right, it's wrong. It's incitement. It's color revolutions, and it's everything. It's going against the regime. Go ahead, Sita.
Oh, yes, thank you. I just want to say that youth in Cambodia are the change, a change for the future. You're the one who's gonna make the difference. Study up the Constitution in English. You can look that up. The website is called constituteproject.org. And I'm sure there are other websites that has in Khmer language too. So the information is out there. Study and learn about your rights and your rights, that what you have in Cambodia, and build up the momentum of change, and then shine the light on those abusers. So that way you can speak up, and they can minimize their abusive behavior. If you don't speak up, if you don't break out, there's no change. Not going to happen. In America, change happen, but it's not overnight either. It's only 80, 60 years ago that we still had that oppression in America. You know, in the 1950, 1960, before that, there's no freedom in America like today either. So change take a long time. So, but at the same time, you cannot just give up and you know and expect the change to happen by itself. So make those movements if you want change for your future and for the future of your children, your brother and sister in Cambodia. So that's my last plea.
Thank you, Bong. Thank you, Bong Sita, and also thank you, Samady, for being with us today. We are at the end of Khmer Youth Voices for Justice. This show is part of the CNRP-America live show. Thank you, our audience, for being here. Our topic today was very fruitful. It's something that we all enjoy. It's the topic of civil liberties in a democratic society where I enjoy the freedom. Samady enjoyed the freedom. Bong Sita enjoyed the freedom, and also where the CPP party enjoyed the freedom in America, where they are able to go protest anywhere they want without being pushed, being shoved, and at the same time they are buying their own citizen, their own blood Cambodian in Cambodia to even enjoy that freedom. So and it's not just us saying there's no freedom. There's many reports like Human Rights Watch and also the Freedom House where it's called Cambodia as not free at all. So thank you, our audience, for being here. Before I leave, I want to play a little clip regarding Commission of Inquiry for Cambodia. Again, the purpose is to gather evidence of the regime, Hun Sen regime, massive violations of democracy and human rights standard incorporated in the Paris Peace Accord. And with this evidence, the Commissioner of Inquiry will present it to the international community and to relevant international forum and decision makers, so the Hun Sen regime can be held accountable, so that justice and accountability, democracy, human rights can be returned to Cambodia. So I will leave our audience with a little clip. It's probably 5 minutes, so like I said, it's an hour long. Please head to youtube.com and type in Commissions of Inquiry for Cambodia. We have two versions. One is in English, an hour long, and there's also another one in Khmer, like a 10 minutes long. So please watch both versions, support both versions. In there, our audience asks, what are we going to do with our petitions that we signed, ending impunity for justice in Cambodia? What happened? So we will take that over 112,000 signature to present it, and also how the commissions of inquiry for Cambodia work on it, showing evidence to present to the international community. So please, we need your support. We need the same thing as ending impunity for justice in Cambodia. Your support is really loud and clear. So this one, please help to support as well. The YouTube link and also the website, which the website called Cambodia Commissions of Inquiry.org. Also is there for you to it's there for you to look at it, to share, to click. So please, as always, please support. And thank you so much, Bong Sita and Samady. So thank you, our audience. Thank you so much, our audience. Like I said, I'm gonna play the last 5 minutes of the show. Gonna play the Commission of Inquiry for Cambodia. So please, again, your support is really help. Again, I will see you next week. My name is Linda. I am dry. My throat is dry. I will see you next week. I hope you have a good day or good evening today, and hope the rest of your weeks are great and wonderful. And please be kind. Please support our project, support our show. And if you like the show, please share. our show. I will be back next Tuesday, and I hope to see you next Tuesday again. Hope you are safe, you are healthy, and also Khmer New Year is coming up. If I didn't see you next week, hope I will see you. But if you out there to celebrate, be safe and happy Khmer New Year. Thank you so much.
To the launch announcement session of the Fact-Finding Commission of Inquiry for Cambodia, designed to tell the truth to power about how and why democracy and human rights are being systematically destroyed in Cambodia by the Hun Sen government. It is no accident that this commission begins its work today, on October 23, 2021. This date marks the 30th anniversary of the Paris Peace Accords, the international agreement that ended the Indochina Wars and established the internationally agreed-upon framework for the operation and governance of the modern state of Cambodia. The accord set out in detail the basic principles and standards of democracy and human rights that the international community mandated and the Hun Sen government agreed would serve as the framework for how Cambodia would operate. But in recent years, most especially since the lead-up to the 2018 national elections, these standards have been grossly and extensively violated in order to keep Hun Sen in power and his family and friends enriched. Hun Sen has misused the laws, the courts, and the security law enforcement systems to suppress and eliminate the political opposition, to assassinate, arrest, and imprison anyone speaking out to criticize his government, to repress free speech and an independent media, and to line the pockets of Hun Sen's family members and supporters. Independent monitoring groups like Human Rights Watch and Global Witness have issued reports highlighting these violations, and international officials and agencies like the UN Special Rapporteur in Cambodia, Rona Smith, have issued statements condemning these practices, but their challenges have not been able to stop or even to moderate the abuses that have been taking place. Recognizing that we have reached the point of no return where more meaningful and systemic remedial action is required if we are to prevent 37 more years of suffocatingly abusive dictatorial governance, the Cambodian people have decided to take matters into their own hands by creating an independent fact-finding commission of inquiry to lay out the stark reality and to identify in very specific terms what must be done to end the repressive policies and practices that have ruled Cambodia for the past 37 years. The goal must be to return Cambodia to the human rights and democracy standards that the Paris Peace Accord set out and guaranteed 30 years ago today. In this launch announcement session of the Fact-Finding Commission, followed by several additional 2-hour sessions that will be held over the coming year, each hearing dealing with a critical, substantive issue will be addressed through testimonies by expert witnesses and representatives of victims of the abuses. In these sessions, we will begin to see and hear, in the strictest of terms, the reality of how and why the Hun Sen regime has destroyed democracy and human rights in Cambodia for its benefit and at the expense of the Cambodian people. We will help everyone understand why these repressive policies and practices violated not only the Paris Peace Accords, but numerous international treaties and international laws. We will identify the remedial actions that now must be taken to bring about meaningful and systemic change and improvement on the democracy and human rights fronts. Starting us off today as introductory keynote speaker will be former Australian Member of Parliament of Victoria, Hong Lim, explaining the work of the Fact-Finding Commission and how it is closely linked to today's celebrations of the 30th anniversary of the Paris Peace Accord.
Please join us in following and participating in and supporting this important effort to bring justice and accountability to the Khmer people and to Cambodia. Thank you.